Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 8th annual and second, but hopefully last, virtual pitch event for the Norman Esch Entrepreneurship Awards in Capstone Design. My name is Mary Wells, and I have the great privilege of being the Dean of the wonderful Faculty of Engineering, and it's my pleasure to be here today for this exciting event, which culminates 8 months of very, very hard project work in an extraordinarily difficult times. Before we begin, I want to share our territorial acknowledgement. The University of Waterloo acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work toward reconciliation takes place across our campuses through research, learning, teaching, and community building, and is centralized within the Office of Indigenous Relations. In a few minutes, you'll hear 10 of our remarkable Capstone design teams pitch their inventive projects and services for the opportunity to win more than $60,000. These awards are generously being provided by the Esch Foundation that was established in November 2004 by Norman Esch to support creative and entrepreneurial students in the pursuit of research and its commercialization for the benefit of Canada. Mr. Esch was a consummate entrepreneur. After serving with the Navy during the Second World War, he invested $5,000, his entire savings at the time, and bootstrapped his own company. The founder of Graphic Lithoplate, the owner of Rototone Gravure, and many other related companies, he was a highly regarded business leader and a driving force behind the printing industry in Toronto. Mr. Esch died in 2010 at the age of 92, but his legacy lives on through his foundation. It's my pleasure to welcome the Esch Foundation trustees who are watching with us today: David Esch, Larry Barrett, Ross McGovern, and Jim Sharples. Thank you very, very much for your tremendous support of Waterloo Engineering and for being here this afternoon. We've also brought back our popular People's Choice Award. This means everyone watching today may cast their vote for their favorite project. The People's Choice is named for former Dean of Engineering, Adel Sedra. Adel, who served as Dean of Waterloo Engineering from July 1st, 2003 to June 30th, 2012, is one of the world's leading electrical engineers and a highly respected engineering educator who specializes in microelectronics. Many of you may have used his seminal textbook by Sedra and Smith. While Dean, Adel spearheaded 2 visionary academic plans that included several new world-class research centers and buildings for our students, including Engineering 5, Engineering 6, and more recently, he put the plans in place for Engineering 7. And thanks to Adel, we also have the Student Design Center that was named the Sedra Student Design Center in his honor in 2013. It's now my pleasure to welcome our MC, Mr. Matt Stevens. Matt graduated with both his BASC and PhD in chemical engineering from Waterloo Engineering, was a member and team leader on our university alternate fuels team, and today is an entrepreneur whose incredible success story started right here in Waterloo Engineering. Like many of you here today, Matt, while he was a student, identified a gap in the marketplace and came up with an innovative idea to fill it. Along with fellow classmates Christopher Mendez, Matt saw a need to simplify the confusing realm of emerging automotive technologies. So together, Matt and Christopher created Crosschasm Technologies, Inc., which was better known as Fleet Karma. The team grew Fleet Karma into a global leader for electric vehicle telematics and was acquired by Geotab, another Canadian tech company, in 2018. After acquisition, Matt was VP of Electric Vehicles and led Geotab's EV efforts globally. Matt is now ramping up a new startup focused on sustainable food while continuing to be on Geotab's board of advisors. With his Waterloo Engineering capstone design and entrepreneurial background, I'm thrilled that Matt is with us again today to MC this event. Please join me in welcoming Matt Stevens.
Helps if I'm not on mute. So thanks so much, Dean Wells, for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. I love the Norman Esch Entrepreneurship Award event. And the reason I love it is because entrepreneurship is important. Entrepreneurship can help tackle some of the world's most important and largest problems. And we need that now as much as ever. And so I've had the fortunate chance to do the full entrepreneurship lap, start the company, grow it, sell it, integrate it, rinse and repeat. And now I'm back at the start line for the second time. And it's been a phenomenal moment to reflect, to think back about, what went well and what didn't, and what was a waste of time. And in doing that, what became really clear was the massive unfair advantage that Chris and I had by graduating from Waterloo Engineering. The education is great, but a lot of schools have great education. It goes well beyond that. It was the network of friends and peers we had in our classmates that we're still close to this day. It was the knowledge we gained from co-op and the mentors we got during those work terms. I still have some of those mentors now. It was the hands-on experience of the Capstone design project and the student teams. And it was a built-in culture of entrepreneurship and hard work. And it's only on reflection that I've really come to understand what a huge advantage that experience was. So that's why I love the Norman Esch Entrepreneurship Awards, because at the very end of this phenomenal experience you've had going through your undergraduate career at Waterloo Engineering, you have this big event at the end to celebrate entrepreneurship. And some of you will win today, and you'll get a super helpful injection of cash. And some of you won't win today, and that's okay. What is really important is that whether or not you try and commercialize the ideas you're presenting today or not, that seed of entrepreneurship, has now been planted, and at the right time, that seed will start to grow. So with that, a huge thank you to the Esch Foundation and the trustees. It's their support that makes that today possible, and a huge thanks to the university and to the students. And so with that, let's jump right into this. So here are the rules for today's competition. The teams are competing for 6 prizes of $10,000. Plus the People's Choice Award, valued at $3,000. Each team will have 3 minutes to pitch their project as if they were presenting to potential investors. And after the pitch, the team members and the judges will be brought on live onto the screen for a live Q&A. Speaking of judges, the ones today have been asked to view these projects as if they were investing their own money, which means there'll be some pretty intense scrutiny. Trust me. Audience, here's how you get involved. After the last pitch, and while the judges are deliberating, a link will be posted in the chat. Please visit the link to vote for your favorite team. As Dean Wells mentioned, the winner, as voted by you, will win the Sedra People's Choice Award of $3,000. Believe me, you can stretch $3,000 a long way at this stage of the game. It's now my pleasure to introduce the judges for this event, 2 of whom are faculty at Waterloo, and joining them are 2 notable alumnus. The judges were handpicked today for today's judging panel because of their expertise. First up, we have Amarinder Singh. Amar is a serial entrepreneur and a seasoned executive with nearly 30 years of experience in senior management experience in healthcare and software industries. He's the founder and CEO of Global Dental Services, GDS, India's largest dental group offering products and services in dental health and oral beauty. Prior to GDS, Amar spent nearly 20 years in Canada and the USA as an entrepreneur, starting in 1999, when he launched a B2B marketplace for public sector, focusing on procurement and supply chain for K-12 schools, colleges, and state government offices, leading him to roles at Procter & Gamble, P&G, Warner Lambert, now Pfizer, and Bain & Company. In 2002, he joined software company SAP to manage product design and development for all supply chain manufacturing and product lifestyle software products. Pretty huge deal. That's a $1 billion revenue business. Next, he took a turnaround role, a CEO role for Mitsui's software division before exiting that in 2010, just before relocating to India to start his current venture. Talk about what a small world it is. Fleet Karma, across the island, we had one investor and it was Mitsui, and they were a great investor. Amar holds a mechanical engineering degree from the University of Ilorin, a master's degree in systems design from Waterloo, and an MBA with honors from Harvard Business School, HBS. He's a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization, a global forum of business leaders, and he is proud recipient of the University of Waterloo's 2020 Faculty of Engineering Alumni Achievement Medal for Professional Achievement. Please welcome Amar. Next up, we have Chris Holt. Chris Holt eats, sleeps, and breathes new ideas. He is the director of the Master of Business, Entrepreneurship, and Technology, MBET program at the Conrad School. Before joining Conrad, Chris was an entrepreneur who worked in finance, media, and educational sectors. His wide-ranging career also includes a tour of duty in management consulting, a stint as the editor of a finance magazine, and various assignments interviewing prime ministers and Nobel Prize winners. So up your game, everyone. Chris tries to bring his unique experiences into the classroom when he teaches entrepreneurship and consulting courses here at Waterloo. A fan of US college basketball, his favorite team, after the Warriors, of course, are the Blue Devils of his alma mater, Duke University, where he once lined up for 48 hours to buy basketball tickets. Welcome, Chris. Next up, we have Nada Basir. Nada Basir is assistant professor at the Conrad School for Entrepreneurship and Business at the University of Waterloo. Prior to her doctoral studies, Professor Basir worked in the pharmaceutical industry in marketing and business development. She has entrepreneurial experience in both the for-profit and non-for-profit world. Professor Basir's research focuses on women at work and leveraging businesses to create social impact. She teaches entrepreneurial strategy and entrepreneurial organizations. Welcome, Professor Basir. Next, we have Harsh Khandelwal. Harsh Khandelwal is the UW engineering grad, 1998 Mech Eng, where he also won the Canadian Society for Mechanical Engineering gold medal and holds an MBA from the Richard Ivey School of Business. Over the years, he's built a portfolio of companies in diverse industries under the Kane Group umbrella, with offices both in Kitchener and in Tampa. A value investor at heart, appreciate that. He chooses to chase growth in the technology sector and has recently co-founded a startup in the blockchain space. Thank you, judges, for being here. Knowing the high caliber of the team projects, I can tell that your job will not be easy today. Like so many things over the years, like Dean Wells mentioned, this event had to move to a virtual format. In person, this is always such an exciting event. We have a huge audience at the E7 event space with people watching from all over the balconies. I personally love the Norman Esch cheers. We always have great food for the audience, and the room is filled with the smell of about 150 pizzas and freshly baked cookies. Despite the circumstances being different this year, I really hope you show your support for these amazing teams by showing them love in the comments and on social media, where in social media you can use the hashtag UW Capstone. To keep you on your toes, I will be asking you some questions about entrepreneurship and inventions as we go. So play along in the comments because we'll choose one lucky engaged audience member to win a prize. Let's start with an easy one. Where is everyone tuning in from today? Please throw your answer in the chat. While you're doing that, later, while the judges are deliberating, you'll actually have a chance to win an iPad Pro. So stay tuned for more details on that. With that, now it's time to hear from the Capstone Design Team finalists who will present in random order. The first team to pitch to you today is Cortisol.
Hello, everyone. We are Cortisol, and we're supporting accurate diagnostics for mental illness. Now, mental illness is a rapidly growing issue affecting 1 in 5 Canadians, and diagnosis methods are underdeveloped. Considering anxiety specifically, reported symptoms have increased by 17% during the pandemic, costing the healthcare industry $46 billion each year. Improved diagnostic methods are imperative to providing these patients with the treatment that they need. As of today, anxiety-related disorders are most often diagnosed by a general practitioner using only a one-page questionnaire, and this process is limited by physician bias. Now, to better support diagnostics, researchers are investigating cortisol, which is also known as the stress hormone, but current measurement methods like blood tests are invasive, and they only provide us with a single, effectively meaningless data point, and this incomplete data has limited our understanding of cortisol's role in anxiety-related disorders. Now, here's where we come in. At Cortisol, we are developing a cortisol biosensor that is wearable, non-invasive, and provides dynamic data. This is exactly what researchers need to better understand cortisol's connection to mental illness, and it's what clinicians may need to make more informed diagnoses. It's these primary groups that make up our customer base. Our solution taps into the wearable technology market, which held a global value of $41 billion in 2020, and it's expected to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 14% in 2028. Wearable sensors are currently used by 24% of the American population, and they show great promise in connecting point-of-care solutions to mental health monitoring. To spearhead this project, our team is leveraging our interdisciplinary engineering backgrounds in biosensor development, psychiatric research, data analytics, and user experience design. This, alongside our experience gained working with relevant institutions, holding patents and publications, uniquely positions us to lead this project. To date, we have developed a second-generation prototype which can detect physiologically relevant cortisol levels. These successful experimental results and our sensor's calibration curve can be seen to the right within the convenient user interface that we developed. And finally, we have received preliminary customer validation from the Naturalistic Neuroimaging Lab at the University of British Columbia. Moving forward, we will continue to reach out to and work with customers, including the Canadian Association for Mental Health, in order to ensure that our integrated device fully meets their needs. From there, we will pursue patent and FDA Class II medical device licensing as our primary revenue model, with our sights set on major suppliers, including GE Healthcare and Siemens Healthineers. So in conclusion, we are Cortisol, and we're supporting accurate diagnostics for mental illness using wearable, non-invasive, and state-of-the-art technology. Thank you for having us at the Esch competition, and we're happy to open the floor for questions.
All right, so making sure that I'm not on mute this time. Welcome, Cortisol. So looking through the judges, who would like to jump in first? Amar, I think I saw your hand pop up there. Perfect. Oh, Amar, you got caught by the same bug I did.
All right, there you go. We all got, all right, first of all, I was saying congratulations to the team for doing a great job. I think it's a good idea. Question I have for you is that you're focusing only on one aspect of mental illness delivered through the medical professionals. Is there a way for you to expand it to everyday consumers in a way that they can diagnose their cortisol levels and react accordingly? Maybe during a job interview, maybe during making such a presentation, your cortisol levels go up. So can you adjust that? Can you make it consumer, direct to consumer is the question.
Yeah, I can take that question really quickly. So in short, yes. What we would like to do is after the device has been validated fully by researchers and clinicians, move towards a wearable device that consumers can bring with them on day-to-day life and find for them moving forward. And as you say, using stressful situations like job interviews. So that is something we would hope to achieve.
Yeah, that'll make the market much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Moving over to Chris.
Great job, guys. What is the business model? What's the revenue model for this business?
So currently we are looking at pursuing patent licensing as our main revenue model.
Okay.
But to start, we'll be working on developing it ourselves in partnership with researchers so that we make sure we have a fully functional device that's not just built for them, but with them. And then from there, the patenting would probably be most applicable to the fully integrated device itself.
So you wouldn't operate the business yourself. You would license the technology.
Moving forward, to start for early development, we think it's important to have direct contact with our customers. So that would be moving forward beyond that to mass production, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Chris. Over to Nada.
Hi. Great job, Cortisol. I enjoyed your presentation, and I love that you're tackling such an important problem. My question for you is, have you thought about how would you sell this? Where's the point of sale? How would you get this product to the end user?
So as we sort of mentioned, there's a multi-tiered approach. So first we want to start out with researchers who I've been in contact with, who are primarily psychiatric researchers who are wanting to test the validity of the device and also want to use it for their own research purposes. Beyond that, it would need to undergo more stringent regulatory approval to fit into clinical use, clinical practice, and as well after that move on to more sale to individual customers in the broad public.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Over to you, Harsh.
Yeah, just to expand on Amar's point about opening up the market and Nada's about friction, getting this out there. Have you thought about ways of integrating your technology with existing wearables?
Yeah, so I'll take this question.
Currently, a lot of sweat-based sensors, or the sweat-based sensors for chemical measurements like this, have failed to go to market just because it's so hard to get sweat. You need to like exercise. It's not the greatest method. And so people are looking into microneedles actually to sample the interstitial fluid, which is right under your like top layer of your skin. It's minimally invasive. It doesn't hit any nerve or blood vessels. And so looking forward, a lot of researchers are multiplexing different analytes onto these chips. And so cortisol could be one that we also integrate into a device like ones that are out there right now.
Great.
Okay, fantastic. Perfect timing, just as we came up on time. So thank you, Team Cortisol.
Great,
Cortisol.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. So next up, we have Moonlight Haptics.
Hello, I'm Alex Wei, co-founder of Moonlight Haptics. Mobility for individuals with visual impairment is still unsafe, as objects in the background can become camouflaged due to their condition. For example, this bench is almost invisible to people with severe vision impairment. In fact, those with visual impairment are 35% more likely to fall from tripping over bumps, falling from stairs, and slipping on walkways, regardless of their traveling proficiency or choice of mobility aid. With approximately 1.2 million visually impaired Canadians, 17,000 individuals were severely injured by falling accidents in 2019, costing up to $6,000 in emergency department visits and inpatient hospitalizations per trip. So why is it that current solutions can't keep their users safe? While white canes are cheap at cost of $30 to $40 that can survey the environment to a serviceable degree, our discussions with the mobility and orientation specialists at the California School for the Blind reveal that white canes frequently break or get stuck, are slow to find objects, and are unable to detect head-level obstacles. The haptic displays that have been developed in recent years translate obstacles into simple signals, resulting in devices that are not adaptable to unfamiliar environments. At Moonlight Haptics, we are designing an adaptable solution, using a slim-fitting pack with a camera hung on the user's front to send information to the haptic display on the user's back. The camera captures obstacles in the environment, translates them into a comprehensible image through our novel compression algorithm, and displays the results by actuators, putting pressure in the shape of the obstacle on the user's back, generating a haptic image with 50 times higher resolution than modern devices. In fact, we were able to achieve 90% accuracy in determining which of the two targets were closer in our initial prototype, only being separated by 10 centimeters. In a total addressable market of $33 billion for individuals with visual impairment across North America, we are focused on young adults with severe visual impairment who need to travel outdoors for work or hobbies, coming to a target market of $272 million. Our device is anticipated to cost a flat $5,000, lasting 5 years, reducing healthcare and well-being losses by 5-fold. Our discussions with teachers and staff at the California School for the Blind and the Canadian National Institute for the Blind have helped us learn the intricacies of the problem. We are currently preparing a minimum viable product along with a requested research ethics protocol for product validation. The $10K from Norman Esch will primarily go towards travel and remuneration costs across Southern Ontario. The rest will be spent on upgrading our prototype into a minimum viable product, with a portion dedicated to upgrading our lab equipment for faster troubleshooting times. We aim to enter the market by 2027 by connecting with channels such as schools or low vision clinics that would recommend our product to secure letters of intent from the visually impaired community. As we expect to be a Class 1 medical device under Health Canada, we also require a medical device establishment license to enter the market. Our technical team of nanotechnology engineers has the experience of working in a display company, as well as the familiarity of miniaturization processes and material fabrication, giving us the expertise to build a haptic device. We are Moonlight Haptics, creating a mobility device to keep people with visual impairment safe.
Perfect. Okay, thanks, Moonlight Haptics. So moving into the Q&A, who's going to jump in with the first question? Chris, over to you.
Sure. There sort of seems to be two halves of this technology. One is encoding what the camera sees, and the other one is haptically communicating that to the user. I've noticed in your diagram that existing technologies seem to do something on the front, and your backpack is on the back. Is that unique, or is that the same as the existing solutions, to have the haptics on your back?
Have it on the back is unique, yes.
Okay, so why on the back then? Is that, I assume there are less nerve endings on the back. It just seemed to be, is that by design or?
Yeah, so that is true that there are fewer nerve endings than there are compared to, say, your hands. Not so much compared to your front. The back has the largest surface area that's also flat. Then we don't have to worry about conforming to the shape of the one's body as much. And keeping it on the back also makes sure that the device is gender neutral. Imagine that would be a problem if you were to put the device on the front.
Oh, I've thought about it, obviously. Good stuff. Thanks.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Nada, over to you.
Sure. Okay, really cool. This is I love all the projects. Such interesting stuff happening. It's really exciting. 5 years though. Why 5 years? Walk us through that timeline. Why do you need 5 years to get this out to market?
Yeah, so the reason that we need 5 years is mainly because, as I mentioned in the pitch, that we need to actually be registered under Health Canada as a medical device. And so that is a pretty big hurdle for us to cross. And there's actually a lot of different regulations that we need covered. So there's basically 2 areas that we can target in North America, right? US versus Canada. So it's Health Canada versus FDA. And the problem with, let's say, trying to enter FDA, which theoretically might be faster, is that we would also need to pay an annual $6,000 to enter the market. And that registration fee is a little high for us right now starting up. And so as in Canada, we're expecting to be classified as health, as a type 1 device. And that means that we still need to go through a very rigorous application, which can take a year, but the cost that we need to pay for the registration is a lot less. So between that and needing to communicate with various nonprofit organizations, schools, all these different communities that relate to visual impairment, that will take a lot of time for us to be able to get our grip kind of in this community and then be able to enter the market properly.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So with about a minute left, so Amar, I see your hand up. Hershey, you had yours up too, but Amar, go first there.
I was just going to add more of a suggestion rather than a question, but to think about markets outside North America as an option for you to prove your concepts, number one. Number two is that, to Nada's point, 5 years is a long time. I think you need to develop a vision for a much faster adoption. And once you have a plan for faster adoption, you can get money to make that happen. So money usually is available for great ideas. So, but if you go to an investor and you say you're not even looking at seeing the light of the day is 5 years from now, you're going to have a lot of roadblocks with the investors. So that's just my advice.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll just add a bit to that. So startup investing is an inherently risky proposition. And as you extend the timeline, it compounds the risk. There's more risk that you'll run out of funds along the way. And there's also risk that technologies and solutions will come along that might disintermediate your proposed solution. So if I were you guys, I would challenge your assumptions about why it's going to take so long and come up with ways to try to compress it. I think it'll make the commercialization a lot more viable.
Thank you. I would like to mention that was a very conservative estimate on our part. And we do plan on expanding beyond North America eventually, for sure. No question.
Perfect.
Thank you for that.
Great. Well, I think the feedback was try and move as fast as you can. So great. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Moonlight Haptics. And we'll move on to the next one. So before we jump on to the next one, I did want to highlight some of the answers from where people are from. There's a number of people from Waterloo, a few people from my hometown in Ottawa. We got Sudbury as well. We've got Austin, Texas. A few really impressive spots where people are joining in from London, Ontario. That's fantastic. And Ajax. Don't want to throw out Ajax. So moving on to the next question, we're really lucky to have a whole lot of everyday conveniences like heat, hydro, cars, phones. Besides those, what is one invention that you absolutely could not live without? So please throw your answers in the comment section. And with that, we will move to team 3, Petalos.
Hi, we are Petalos, and we are redesigning the endoscope for better clinical outcomes. Before we begin, I'll quickly go over some common terms and background regarding our problem. Endoscopes are medical devices that perform therapeutic or diagnostic procedures inside the body. In our case, we are looking at the gastrointestinal tract, which consists of the organs responsible for digestion, such as the throat and stomach. And physicians focused on this area of study are known as gastroenterologists. As you can imagine, these devices must be long and narrow to navigate inside your body. They are carefully cleaned between each surgical use. However, the complex design makes this process long, tedious, and prone to errors. Recently, the FDA has investigated reports of increased contamination rates than was previously expected. This leads to increased patient infection, which results in $21,000 in additional patient expenditure. In the US, there are over 7 million upper GI procedures performed annually, with each procedure costing roughly $3,500. This comes out to over $24 billion for GI procedures annually in the US. In terms of the GI endoscopy device market, it's valued over $3 billion. We have considered the design issues of current devices and have redesigned the endoscope to improve the cleaning process and reduce contamination. Rather than cleaning the long channels and tubes like current devices, we have removable channels. By making the channels disposable, we drastically reduce the risk of contamination. Furthermore, we have designed the first ever autoclavable GI endoscope body, allowing it to achieve the gold standard of medical device cleaning and killing virtually all bacteria and contaminants. We have just finished our prototyping and validation stages, and our device was able to achieve industry standards for bending radius and channel pressures. Here you can see a demo of how easy it is to clean our device. First, we remove the channel components. Then we wipe the body. And finally, we put the device in the autoclave. Our customers would consist of GEs working in the GE department of a hospital, or potentially at their own standalone clinic. Initially, we'd reach out to private clinics, since they have a shorter sales cycle and are more likely to try new products. Current revenue modeling suggests the device could be sold directly to GE departments and clinics, where we will receive recurring revenues from our disposable channels at $50 a procedure. Alternatively, if a patent is approved, licensing the device to established endoscope manufacturers is another possibility. We are Petalos, and we are redesigning the endoscope for better clinical outcomes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Team Petalos. So moving into the Q&A, looking for who wants to jump in first. Nada, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Petalos. My question to you is, what gets you excited about this idea?
Sure. So with our experience, we've had some experience actually working in the surgical space. We really got interested with surgical robotics. With that, though, we found some issues with surgeries, and that was with SSIs, which basically results in patients being infected because of the procedure itself. So rather than fixing a problem during the surgery, they're actually being infected through this process. And from a result, we found that endoscopes are one of the most contaminated medical devices to be ever used. And this is why we decided to tackle this problem space.
Gotcha, makes sense. Harsh, I think you had your hand up too.
Yep. So there were a number of very strong pitches in this contest. I just want to tell you that as an engineering grad myself, you guys made me very proud to be part of this community. So that body that gets reused, do you have a handle on cost? And can you talk about the cost of the reusable components that you want to charge $50 for?
Sure. So for the reusable component, or for the disposable components, we actually we got some quotes from manufacturers, and we were able to get a price point of around $1 just for the insertion tube. So given the $50 price point, it would cost us $1. In terms of the reusable components, do you want to talk about the manufacturer?
Yep. So for the reusable components, we still have all the same clinical functionality that a regular endoscope has. So our price point would remain similar to what existing solutions cost, which is approximately $35,000 for the end consumer. However, we are still working out all of the quotes and the manufacturing costs internally for ourselves.
Okay. Perfect. Amar?
Yeah, I think I echo what Hirsch and Nada said. Great idea, great concept. I think I'm a little bit nervous of the incumbents that are already out there. They have a huge sales force. They have huge, equipment already in play. So your go-to-market strategy needs to be well thought out. I didn't hear much about it. I know kind of, but you really have to focus on that area. You're going to get, they have billions of dollars and they have lots of money to lose. So patent is the most important thing, in my view, to get a patent first, to protect your IP, then to align yourself with a big or a second or third player so that you can get the distribution channel, because building your own distribution channel will cost you a lot of money. So those are just my comments or questions. Yeah.
Exactly. And with that, we found that the FDA is actually reviewing current devices. So even though there's a very competitive market, it's not just one device, but it's several devices such as Olympus and Pentax that are undergoing FDA review because of the increased contamination. And getting a patent would allow us to basically be a great sales point to these companies because they're looking for solutions to solve their need.
And I just add to that, look at, again, I'll come back to global markets, because you might find that the markets are not already penetrated with the older products, and therefore a newer product with a disposable intent, you might get traction faster than trying to go uphill with the big boys in North America. Yeah, good job.
Perfect. Thanks. Over to you, Chris.
This is a major problem with a very straightforward solution that you've come up with, to use disposable items as opposed to reusable ones. So why has no one thought of this idea yet? What are they missing?
So as Evan mentioned before, this has been a big pain point for a lot of the big endoscope manufacturers, and they have tried to come up with solutions regarding SSIs related to endoscopes. However, their approach has been more towards automating the already complex reprocessing system, or going to completely fully disposable endoscopes. And both of those avenues have major flaws with them. The automated solution, where they try to completely remove the human aspect out of cleaning the device, is extremely difficult to do because the process itself is already inherently complicated. So they're really just trying to put a Band-Aid onto that solution instead of attacking the problem from its root, which is the fact that the device has been designed poorly from the start. And going the fully disposable route has extreme clinical downsides because they're missing important features like stiffness control and camera quality, which clinicians need to do their job.
Okay, perfect. So I'll have to wrap it there to keep the time. Awesome. Thank you, Team Petalos. That was great. So moving on, before we move on to safe sound surgery, which is next up, let's look at some of the answers of the folks of what people said they couldn't live without. So looking at some of the answers that came up. So coffee, 100% agree. I have water right now, but project management software. All right. That's a unique one. Nano. Okay. Yeah, great. I wasn't sure if that was you were talking about the discipline or not. Can opener. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Awesome. Some pretty great answers there. So moving on. Yeah, fair enough. Moving on to safe sound surgery.
Hello, we are Safe Sound Surgery, and we are developing the next generation of cancer treatment technology. Cancer is the leading cause of death in Canada, accounting for 30% of all deaths. That's nearly 1 in 3 people. The unfortunate reality is that everyone here likely knows someone affected by cancer. 37% of all cancer diagnoses result in mortality. These statistics are directly related to the quality of treatments available. These include invasive surgery, minimally invasive surgeries, radiation therapy, and chemotherapy. However, each of these therapy methods have risks. Some treatments struggle with difficult places in the body to reach. Other treatments may damage other healthy tissue. Others have risks of postoperative complications, and most treatments require long recovery times. High-intensity focused ultrasound, or HIFU, has the ability to overcome many of these shortcomings. HIFU leverages acoustic energy to burn cancerous tissue. HIFU is non-invasive, has zero radiation, is low risk, and best of all, can treat difficult areas in the body, such as the brain. Safe Sound Surgery has developed an autonomous robotic surgery system which leverages HIFU to treat cancerous tumors. Initially focusing on breast cancer, this system will eventually treat most cancers. Using our novel software, an optimal surgery plan is developed to quickly and effectively ablate tumors. Our autonomous system mitigates human error and minimize surgery time. As you can see here in this demonstration, our robot localizes the tumor from pre-surgical plan and positions the device to ablate it. To date, the team has developed a full-scale functioning prototype. Testing and validation have begun, and we've successfully achieved tissue ablation on animal tissue. Here you can see the results of our successful ex vivo testing, where we ablated the tissue of the inner region of a chicken breast. The potential for this technology is huge. In 2020, the global cancer treatment market was valued at approximately $158 billion. It is expected to reach $268 billion by 2026, with an annual growth rate of 9%. Safe Sound Surgery's customers will be hospitals and private health institutions. A channel-based revenue model will be used, initially available through a distributor. The system will later be sold working with a group purchasing organization. The next steps for Safe Sound Surgery are to obtain patent and IP protection, receive certification for medical application, and further develop this technology for other forms of cancer. Safe Sound Surgery's autonomous robotic surgical system poses to revolutionize how cancer is treated worldwide. Thank you for your consideration and help us create safe and sound cancer treatment.
Perfect. Thank you, Team Safe Sound. Jumping into the Q&A, who wants to jump in first? Harsh, over to you.
So first off, that was a terrific presentation. And coincidentally, about 2 weeks ago, I listened to a podcast and they were talking about incisionless brain surgery for stubborn mental health conditions. And when I looked into it, they were using focused ultrasound. So what makes your technology different, and what aspects of it do you think are patentable?
For sure, I can take this one. So as you mentioned, what we try to do is leverage traditional ultrasound technologies to try to package it in a different method to treat cancers non-invasively. And as of lately, HIFU has been picking up a little bit of steam in the medical industry. But there are a few differences that separate us from what you see with at market. So currently, all HIFU technologies that are available are manually operated by a physician, and this incurs natural human error and increased operation and labor times and increased physician requirements. So typically it would require multiple physicians at a time to ensure that we can achieve the targeted ablation areas. What our technology leverages is its package of a robotic mechanism that induces 6 degrees of freedom, so that we have multiple pathways to treat multiple types of cancer. So not only breast cancer, but move into the field of neurosurgery and difficult to reach tumors. And then we can leverage that with our proprietary software that does segmentation and pre-surgical path planning to create a smart system that targets the tumors in the most efficient way possible, and it would reduce human error completely.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Over to you, Chris.
So humans don't operate the robot. It's automated. Like there's no joystick or anything that a surgeon would use.
Yeah. So the idea behind ours is that initially we would receive MRI data pre-surgically, like from once the tumor is identified, and then our software would do pre-surgical path planning and segmentation of the tumor to allow us to identify the most efficient way to target the tumor. And attached to our system is a real-time diagnostic imaging ultrasound that allows us to scan and identify what tumors we have targeted and ablated. So as a result, our system is to be physician supervised. So they would have the ability to control the system at any which moment they want, and specifically if certain areas are deemed that need further ablation, or if boundaries have slightly changed since the pre-surgical MRI data, they would be able to go in manually and target those. But for the bulk of the tumor, the target is to have it autonomously controlled where the physician just supervises, so that we can reach maximum efficiency while mitigating error.
All right. Well, I'll put down the Tesla of cancer surgery then.
For me, the financial model or the economics was not, available. So I don't know what the economics would look like. I don't know if you heard my comments on the previous presenter that you would have the same problem of incumbents, big guys who already have, entrenched sales channels and relationships with hospitals and with physicians. So you will have a lot of, challenges on sales side. So I'd like to understand your revenue model and your sales strategy.
Okay. For sure. Anybody want to take that one, or Aaron?
Yeah, I can answer that one for sure. So we do have some contacts currently in Toronto who are adjacent to the medical community. Looking at current systems that would be less capable than our proposed prototype, they would sell for between $3.5 to $4.2 million. And this would also include 5 years of on-site technician support as well as practitioner training. We think we can target that probably within 3 years we can have something that we can pitch that's very similar.
Yeah, and to add a little bit on top of that, I know your part of your question was also how would we try to battle against current competitors that have already established these connections and these distribution channels. I think part of that is that the preliminary focus today is to try to focus into the development of the device. And once we can create something that targets a larger variety of cancers, we can begin to push into that into those distribution channels as a novel technology. And then at that point, we would also evaluate and see if we could leverage potentially like a licensing deal as well, depending on the situation. But that would be
okay. I'm going to have to ask you to keep it there just to keep tight on time. Nadia, do you have any quick questions that the team can answer? No, perfect. Okay. Thanks a lot, Team Safe Sound. Sorry, got to keep tight on time here. So perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
Perfect. And then next up, so looking at the next question that we have for you on the audience side, on your phone, if you could have only a single app on that phone right now, which app would you want? And so can you please throw those in the chat? And in the meantime, we will go over to Immunocool.
Hello, we are Immunocool, and we're on a mission to make immunization cold storage affordable for areas without reliable grid electricity. The recent pandemic has clearly shown us the imperative role vaccines play in human health. Since vaccines are sensitive biological products, they can only be stored within a narrow temperature range, so specialized cold chain storage is required to keep them from spoiling. Many regions in the world lack this capacity due to an unreliable grid, a lack of funding, and the additional challenge of high ambient temperatures in some regions. This leads to inequity in vaccine coverage. In fact, the current cold chain capabilities leave 2.7 billion people without dependable access to vaccines. Current solutions that are on the World Health Organization's list of approved vaccine fridges include solar direct drives, kerosene fridges, and last mile delivery via different modes of transportation using cold box. Solar direct drives, while they're contender, are highly expensive. Kerosene fridges are expensive in fuel costs and are unreliable. Last mile delivery cannot reach everybody, so it is also unreliable. To tackle this issue, our group came up with a low-cost solar thermoelectric vaccine fridge. Thermoelectric refrigeration is cheaper, easier to maintain due to it being solid state and having no moving parts, and ideal for narrow temperature ranges compared to traditional refrigeration mechanisms. They also perform at high temperatures. Our potential customers are public and private health units with cold storage challenges. We plan to align ourselves with Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and UNICEF, which are NGOs that work in these regions. Currently, we have completed our initial testing and prototyping and have started interviewing health units. We have also started a conversation with UNICEF on how to start a strategic partnership. Next, we want to pilot with a few health units, apply for a patent, scale up to mass manufacture, get on the WHO approved list, which is a process of a couple months, and distribute to the nearby health units. We plan to use the distribution channels of these NGOs. Our team consists of 5 chemical engineering students and 2 advisors with research background in clean energy and thermoelectric modules. Together, we will make immunity accessible to all. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Team Immunocool. And for full disclosure, Professor Fowler was my supervisor, so I should just put that out there. So with that, let's move to the Q&A. So who would like to jump in first? Chris, over to you.
What are the dates on your timeline? I mean, that's a logical sequence, but what kind of dates are we talking about?
So we were hoping to pilot with a test with health units around May 2022, file our patent application around September 2022, and then start scaling up to manufacture around October, and then hopefully start selling within the next year or two.
Okay.
Over to you, Domar.
So I'm not sure how big your unit is, how many units go in, and the reason I'm asking is I'd like to understand why just vaccines, why not other things, why not movement of organs, why not using this technology for at-home refrigeration. I'm just trying to understand why only focusing on one very important and very relevant today's world segment, but why not for others?
Well, in terms of home, this is more of
I can answer.
Okay.
It. So while the application of using it for organs seems like a good idea, we were particularly focused with vaccines because we have reached out and talked to health professionals in Nepal, and her aunt actually is a nurse, so she works there, and she basically explained the difficulties with the vaccine storage that they have over there, because they're using actually normal fridges, and the temperature that they need is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. And second, we wanted something that was cost effective. Current fridges are pretty expensive, so we decided we wanted to focus on this application, whereas we can use it for other things such as cosmetics or anything or so, but we were focusing particularly on the temperature range. That's why it's like vaccine.
Also, we're looking for areas without reliable grid electricity, right? So organs and such, they wouldn't really be housed in local health centers. They would be in regional hospitals, which will have electricity, most likely.
Okay, thanks. Nada, over to you.
Okay, so if you can just clarify who you're selling, who would you be selling the units to, and the role of the NGOs in the process, and why NGOs?
Yeah, so from my understanding and conversations with the Nepal vaccination program and UNICEF, they work in collaboration with government to buy these. So the NGOs are the ones that provide the funding and buy these equipments for these regions. And because we're looking at regions that have a lack of funding, NGOs play a large role in that market.
Can I do a follow-up question, Matt?
Sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so obviously with NGOs, cost is a huge issue. So how does your unit compare in terms of cost to what is available right now?
Yeah, so if you, in the presentation, we mentioned that our cost is $21 a liter. The most viable solution for these regions with high ambient temperatures right now is $68 a liter. So that's the retail price for them.
Okay, perfect.
And we were able to get that cost down because thermoelectric refrigeration itself is very cheap.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Thanks a lot, Immunocool. So with that, we will move on. So let's look at some of the answers. So not only do I love the name Cheesy Pizza Jokes, but I also love their answer to this one. But looking at some of the apps, people, there we go, note YouTube, so they can continue watching this pitch competition. So bonus points for you. We got Safari, we've got Duolingo, Tinder, there you go. Pokemon Go, awesome. Sweet, there's some great ones there. So with that, we are actually halfway through the number of teams. And so with that, stretch out our arms. And with that, we'll move over to Visor.
Hello, I'm Sam, pitching for Visor, an innovative solution for protecting drivers' eyes when it matters most. Let's dive into it. Whoa, what a bright, blinding light. Good thing I'm not driving. And yet that's something drivers face on the road every night. There's a 50% greater chance of getting into an accident after the sun sets, due in part to the 85% of drivers that have misused their high beams at some point. Bright lights caused over 4,500 accidents in the US per year, making it the second most common environment-related cause of accidents. Bright lights are a big problem for drivers. Introducing Visor. Longer than the standard sun visor, the driver looks through Visor. A forward-facing camera identifies bright lights on the road ahead, and a rear-facing camera locates the driver. Then, LCD cells are intelligently actuated to dim bright lights from the driver's eyes while leaving the rest of their field of view unobstructed. Powered by our proprietary AI, Visor precisely dims bright lights when and where you need it the most. The system can be seamlessly integrated into existing or new vehicles to improve the driving experience in day or night. The Intelligent Sensor Suite ensures accurate light dimming regardless of driver height or position. This is a new product which has no direct competitors offering similar value props. The only alternatives are clunky, requiring manual and frequent adjustment, the most common of which don't even work at night. Our primary market is commercial trucking, a $732 billion a year market in the US alone. Truckers spend a lot of time on the road, much of which is at night. There is an aging population of truckers with aging eyes and increasing reaction times, elevating the need to improve visibility. Lastly, truck companies are willing to spend on safety to protect their assets and keep shipments moving. A second market is luxury vehicles, a $314 million a year market in Canada alone. Here, brands are seeking differentiation to stand out from others, especially ones that improve the driving experience. Commercial trucking will serve as a great primary market as we license manufacturing to aftermarket part suppliers and help them retrofit existing vehicles. Eventually, we hope to tackle the consumer vehicle market by licensing to OEMs and Tier 1 part suppliers for use in new vehicles. We plan on pursuing these licensing deals as they allow manufacturers to customize the display aesthetics. Their existing sales channels could be leveraged, making market penetration that much easier while eliminating the risk and capital requirement to mass manufacture ourselves. This is just the start of our journey. We plan to refine our tech and simultaneously minimize product cost. We will aggressively pursue patents to protect the most cost-effective version of Visor. Then we plan on engaging in direct sales to OEMs. We're a team of fourth-year mechatronics engineers set on making this happen. We are Visor. Help us protect drivers' eyes when it matters most.
Thanks, Visor. I was hoping on that roadmap there would be cash, Esch, check in that. So with that, we'll move to the first questions here. So who wants to jump in first? Harsh, over to you.
Hi, so I've noticed that there were a number of indirect competitors, maybe polarized filter based, and I saw on Canadian Tire there was a link for one for less than $50. And I saw in your presentation that it might require manual adjustment. So as a driver, I would say only a few % of my drives actually involve the visor. And of those times, I don't really adjust very much. So can you sell me right now on the incremental cost between that $50 solution and your solution?
For sure. Perhaps the best example here is when you're driving at night and there's high beams. You can't wear sunglasses when you're driving at night. You can't use your visor because that'll just block the whole road. So our solution will selectively dim just the high beams, which will leave the rest of your field of view unaffected.
Let me, Harsh, you done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me add to what Harsh was saying. I think, they're on luxury vehicles, for instance, I unfortunately own one, and I have adaptive lights which auto dim when you're on the highway. So there's already technology out there that is, which is much easier for OEMs to install because it's only dealing with the headlights with a smaller component. They put a camera and they adapt and they auto dim the lights when they see another light coming in. So I'm not sure how this would compete with that. The cost, again, would be comparison. This involves driver involvement. That is automatic. So help me understand a little bit.
Excellent point. Let me bring up one more example. If the sun's low in the sky, you have to bring your visor down. And if you're on the highway, you can't see any road signs on the road above you. Additionally, you mentioned the automatic high beams, which is true. That is being implemented on a lot of new vehicles. But 3/4 of new vehicles being created today have improperly tuned high beams that are, or even low beams as well, that are too high, and making especially low vehicles obstructing their field of view all the same.
Okay, over to you, Chris.
It sounds like a cool piece of underlying technology. Essentially, what you're talking about is augmented reality. You're augmenting the reality by removing some of the reality. It's augmented reality nonetheless. So are there other applications of this technology? I'm curious why you chose this one when it sounds like the magic here might be in the actual technology.
For sure. So I will let Curtis, our head of product, talk about this one. Absolutely. So coming into this application, it should be noted that this is actually a fully automatic response because, of course, all these new vehicles, or even some of them as mentioned, are going to have this technology that dims the bright light when it sees an oncoming car. You have to imagine all the cars that are not brand new that have these bright lights that are being emitted from these oncoming vehicles. And so what this technology does is protect the driver and allows them to essentially be able to have that augmented difference of that light being dimmed to allow for the rest of the field of view to remain unobstructed. And so, of course, going forward, we'd love to continue to look into, per se, other applications of this technology. But we do see a real need here with over 45,000 crashes happening every year.
Yeah, I mean, you've got it's a heads-up display, basically, is what you have, right? So maybe that's the direction you could go.
Yeah, so I'd just like to chime in there. It's important to note that the way our technology works is it's just using LCD panels. So rather than like a typical heads-up display, which may be using an OLED to actually display information, our LCD panels are either on or off or somewhere in between. When they're on, they're just blocking light. They're just on. So the difference here is that like we're not able to provide like navigation or anything like that. But the heads-up display isn't able to block light. OLED technology can't block light. LCD can. So by using these LCD displays, we're physically blocking the light. This is not masking it, it's blocking it. So for our application, this is kind of what made sense, and it's kind of hard to take that to like a heads-up display without changing the underlying display technology and then lose blocking.
Okay, got it.
Nadia, do you have any pressing questions before we move on?
Not pressing. We can go ahead though.
Okay.
I would just add, for me, I think you adding sunlight was a critical component because sunlight is a daytime application, headlights are a nighttime application. But you mentioned that in your Q&A, but I didn't see that in your presentation. To me, I think that actually increased the viability of this product before I heard about it. So I don't know why you missed that part. We don't have to answer it, but just keep that in.
So Visor team, please take that to heart, but I will have to wrap it there. Thank you very much. And next.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So the next question we have is this counter side of the original invention question. What is one invention that you wish existed, that you would love to have? So please throw your answer in the comments. And with that, we will go to Aipaca.
Imagine computers without Microsoft, electric cars without Tesla. These innovative firms changed the world by providing cheap and easy access to specialized technology. Introducing Aipaca, a machine learning operations or ML ops platform, enabling data scientists and researchers to train and deploy models with one line of code. Over many co-op terms as data scientists, we saw high team costs limiting productivity and results. The main drivers of these high costs are server and salary fees. We saw a better way, allowing team initiation, scaling, and productivity while minimizing costs. The solution? AI Bro by Aipaca. AI Bro automates the ML engineer role and optimizes cloud computing. This is done through two innovative pieces of the technology. The first, our native API. It's like Siri, handling all your hard work. And the second is our smart cloud computing. Like your financial advisor, investing your money in the best products. This slashes salary and server costs by removing ML engineers on small teams and saving larger teams 80% of their budget. The market and subject matter experts all agree there is a need for our product. The $500 million global ML ops market is growing 11% faster than the $11 billion global ML market. This while Canada continues to dominate the AI world stage. Over 50 ML SMEs from prestigious companies and universities support our product and have provided valuable feedback. Our revenue model is three-tiered with open source licensing, lab subscriptions, and enterprise contracts. This transforms our marketing funnel by increasing the customer adoption rate. Our foundational tech is already in place with improvements planned alongside product growth. Our revenues, our customers, and our community are material, and we are actively negotiating enterprise contracts above $40,000. We are not alone. As members of the AI Partnerships Corporation, We have a fully staffed San Fran-based sales and marketing team supporting our efforts starting in April. Dr. Tom Core, he's leading this charge, and he knows the quality of you Waterloo grads, being a close personal friend of David Johnston. Our experience and skills are complementary within the team, hailing from UW mathematics, computer, and management engineering. Imagine computers without Microsoft, electric cars without Tesla. Imagine now AI without Aipaca. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Aipaca. So moving into the questions. Who would like to, Nada, do you have a question? You got cut off last time, so.
And since I got cut off, can I ask 2 questions, Matt?
Stu or you? Yeah,
Okay,
that's great.
awesome. Okay, I'd like to start. So I have an 11-year-old who's really getting into kind of the tech space. How would you describe this product to them?
In the mom version, that will be a software built for machine learning that save you 80% of your cost when building the machine learning product.
Okay.
I don't know if your child has ever used Scratch. It's
Yes.
a very popular coding platform to get learners started.
Yes.
So in the same way, our product gets a company, a team, an individual started, just with one method.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. Okay, my second question, tell me about the name AI Bro and how you came up with that and what it means.
It's a funny name, AI Bro. No, the original purpose of this was saying, hey, we want to build a tool that could be a broker of AI. We want to bring the power of different clouds together. So we try to combine our tool with different clouds and become the broker of AI clouds, so that people understand we can access to all different resources and empower their AI tool while using one-line code, make the productivity boost.
Okay, so Bro is from broker.
Broker, yes.
Okay, I'm so glad I asked that because I initially thought AI Bro. And I wanted to tell you, I'm like, you cannot go to companies with a name like this. It would just be awful for you not to get sales because, I think every company in the world right now has, gender discrimination right now on their mind. So I'm glad I asked that, but you may want to revisit the name.
Okay.
I'm really glad you asked that too, because I took it the other way.
Okay, there you go. Okay, thank you.
Looking for other questions. Harsh, over to you.
Okay, so you got me really excited with this one line of code you can, and then you didn't connect the dots for me. So can you give me an example? Make me any potential customer and give me the example. You who do this with one line of code, you can do this and do it in a way that you don't need domain expertise to understand.
Yes.
So let's say you are building an insurance company web app, and you want to predict, let's say, driver's insurance. You want to predict the premium that your customer is going to pay. Right? We can take all your data and your ML model, put it into our platform in one line of code. It gives us the trained model. Now we know what we should charge to you, right? Now we want to deploy this on our web app. That's a different part of our system. It's also one line of code. And so we pop our trained model into a separate part of our system. And then now the API returns the premium based on the information that the user gives.
Yeah,
So-
that's why we
so
want to
that-
be the, sorry.
So is it like Google's deep learning as a service?
Yes, you can also call it MLAS, machine learning as a service.
Okay.
Perfect. Chris and Mara, we probably have time for one question. But Chris, you got your name up here first.
Well, just what would be the current way of doing that, what you just described, just so I can compare it to something?
Sure. Currently, 1 researchers have to be streamlined by 2 to 5 engineers to build 1 machine learning product. But with our tool, 1 machine learning researcher can complete the entire machine learning lifecycle independently. So that we avoid extra payroll from engineers. That's going to be around 70% of the overall cost for operating a machine learning team, and also avoid the communication overhead between teams.
So you're standardizing it so that not every solution is bespoke.
Yeah, we somehow standardize, but try to keep as many flexibility as possible.
It's minimizing non-value add work, really.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, that's a great point to leave it at. So awesome. Thanks, Aipaca. So with that, we will look at some of people's answers about what invention did they wish existed. And there were some in there that I thought were pretty fantastic. So that one I loved. Thank you, Larry at Zoom Auto Mute. I would also love that today. So thank you. Some other ones. So we got home bubble tea machine. That would be thoroughly enjoyable. I had the first time for bubble tea in the last week. Hologram FaceTime. So I know at least one company in Ontario that's working on something like that. So perfect. Okay, and teleportation, even better. Make FaceTime even easier. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so with that, we will move to Team 8, which is Origami.
Hi, we are Team Origami, and we are developing the most portable and convenient electric bike ever designed. Today's North American city commutes are plagued by congestion from automotive traffic, a fragmented public transit system, and infrastructure that prioritizes cars over people. The detrimental impacts of global warming are being felt all over the world, along with growing rates of urbanization, surging gas prices, and the phasing out of fossil fuel cars. It's no wonder that a generation of young urbanites, from university students to working professionals, are seeking cleaner and more efficient ways to get from A to B within their cities. Advancement in lithium-ion battery technology has catalyzed development of a host of micromobility products, from e-bikes to e-scooters, entering a market that is projected to be worth $300 billion by 2030. These products have the potential to relieve congestion in cities, revolutionize the way we move, and reduce strain on the environment. Today, however, it is still a fragmented market which has yet to address challenges faced by urban commuters. Of the many micromobility vehicles on the market, the bike is the most familiar and safest option. Survey results from over 1,800 commuters across North America show that reasons for lack of adoption of bikes for commuting can be attributed to them being too slow and not powerful enough, requiring too much exertion, not being able to carry cargo, being prone to theft, being too heavy and too large to carry, being difficult to store, and being poorly compatible with multimodal transportation. These pain points preventing widespread adoption of personal electric vehicles can broadly be categorized as problems of portability and performance. Our research has identified a glaring product gap in an underserved market that we are addressing. Meet Origami, the high-performance, highly portable, compact pedalless e-bike. In its driven mode, Origami has the performance of a full-size electric bike with a range of 35 kilometers and a top speed of 40 kilometers per hour. We've optimized our design to address the unmet portability needs of city commuters and leveraged our engineering backgrounds to conceive of a novel and intuitive folding design, which affords a rolling form factor, providing the utility of a cargo bike in the space of a carry-on suitcase. In its compacted form, collapsible handlebars and seat allow Origami to fit under a desk or in a closet for storage indoors, safe from theft. Because of our unique folding frame, we've approached design from first principles, establishing benchmarks for safety and performing hundreds of finite element studies to rigorously ensure reliability. We've developed a custom drivetrain featuring dual drive electric motors that can propel Origami up steep hills. Powering all this is a custom lithium-ion battery pack and state-of-the-art motor controller. We are in the process of patenting our design and are discussing a licensing partnership with a manufacturing company in San Diego, California. We believe we can scale from low volume sales at $5,000 per bike to a mass production price point of $2,000 per bike, lower than the majority of our competitors, which would be available through our website and bike stores over the course of just a few years. To make Origami a reality, our team of 5 mechanical engineering students takes learnings from work with some of the world's leading technology companies. Our advisors include some of the leaders in the frame and motor design in the bike industry, and we've secured financial resources from sponsors and awards and are currently finalizing the detailed design of our prototype. With fabrication underway, we will begin user testing this summer and take these learnings to iterate on our design. Origami is our vision for the sustainable future of urban mobility. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Origami. So we're jumping into questions. And who would like to jump in first? Chris, over to you.
What this is, there's a lot of manufacturing involved here. So how are you protecting yourself against large companies that could knock this off somehow, or something similar adjacent to your patent?
So to address your first point, we're currently in the process of pursuing patenting this product, and we hope to use some funds from this competition to actually pursue legal advice and patent registration of this product. As far as how we intend to proceed with manufacturing, we plan to have a licensing deal with a company in Southern California to help us actually manufacture this. So we wouldn't necessarily be building everything from the ground up ourselves. We're not intending to be a bicycle company. We would instead intend to license this idea to manufacturers who already have expertise in this area.
What part can you patent?
The folding mechanism specifically. The folding mechanism along with the pedalless drivetrain.
Okay. Amar?
I think a great idea. I echo Chris's comments that you have a high risk of established players copying your design. Not, I mean, it's patentable perhaps, but it is also very easily copyable in other formats with slight modifications. Second, I would say that you also should look at expanding it beyond just the bicycle, maybe wheelchairs, maybe other forms of areas where you will have less potential, vultures coming at you to copy your design. Perhaps go into other segments where you can penetrate and get much better traction, and maybe even make more money per unit.
Certainly. I think going into other micromobility sectors is definitely a really interesting option that we have looked into a little bit, and we obviously will continue to look into it. Addressing your comment about IP protection, just another point I wanted to mention is that it's not simply the fact that the frame folds in the Z format, it's also all of the structural analysis, which includes hundreds and hundreds of hours from our entire team analyzing our structure, which is completely novel in the bike industry. And so it's not just the Z fold. It would, if somebody wanted to say, incorporate this folding design into their product, they would need to perform as rigorous of an analysis as we've done. So that's, I think, another barrier to just taking off with our idea prior to us getting it patented.
I'm not sure I'm fully sold on that, but with that, we'll move. Nada, Harsh, any questions? Nada, over to you.
Sure. So where would geographically, where would you go first? Where would you start, and why?
Yeah, so obviously warmer climates are going to be our friend in this market. Places that have year-round temperate weather and not necessarily snow and rain. However, that said, we are intending to certify this bike at a environmental proof standard that it could sustain use in some not as friendly climates. But obviously we're beginning to look at markets in California, partially for the regulatory considerations, partially because we already have a manufacturing partner lined up that we're discussing partnerships with. And so California is a great market to start a high-tech innovative product in. So that's kind of what we're aiming for.
Okay, perfect. So we'll have to leave it there. Thanks a lot, Origami. So we have one last question for the audience. So who is an entrepreneur you really admire? And so there were some of the obvious ones when we asked this question last year, but there were some pretty impressive surprises. So I'm excited to see who you come up with the comments. And with that, we only have 2 teams left. So please keep in mind the Adele Sedra People's Choice Award. So keep in mind who you like. So who's your number 1 so far? And if one of these 2 last teams can displace them. So with that, we will go to team 9, reduce, carbonize, and absorb.
We are Reduce, Carbonize, Absorb, and we are here to bring to you a novel solution to upcycling PET waste. There has been an increase of 180 billion PET bottles in the last 16 years. Our process diverts 1 million PET bottles while reducing 2/3 of greenhouse gas emissions per day as compared to typical methods of PET disposal. Current solution limitations is product downcycling, which has the PET go back into recycling facilities. Landfills take over 450 years to decompose PET. Incineration facilities emit greenhouse gases of over 30,000 carbon dioxide equivalents. We have succeeded in building a novel and high-performing thermal decomposition process to convert PET plastic into a premium activated carbon product. Our production process is economical. It's expected to produce an annual net profit of around 5 million Canadian dollars, while being sustainable at the same time. The market for activated carbon totals $4.72 billion US per year. This includes companies that are in the carbon dioxide capturing business, wastewater treatment facilities as well. Water treatment encompasses approximately 45% of the global activated carbon market. The textile industry is a subset of the wastewater treatment market, with sales totaling $993.6 billion US in 2021 alone. Methylene blue dye, the leading impurity in wastewater, was chosen as a model dye, as it is one of the hardest types of dye to absorb. In fact, About 200,000 tons of dye is lost as waste annually throughout the world. The results are phenomenal, as there is a complete removal of methylene blue dye from the water after activated carbon addition. We analyze our production with two key performance indicators: methylene blue number, which quantifies methylene blue absorption capability, and surface area that quantifies absorption performance in general. Our product absorbs 30% more methylene blue than our competitor products, as shown by the figure. It also has a competitive surface area with other products on the market. Our business plan is to further optimize our scale-up process, create a scale-up dye absorption testing facility, as well as industrial partnerships. Then we want to do a pilot scale testing of our carbonization process. Our team is 5 highly skilled chemical engineers. At the helm is Dr. Tis Mackinac, supervisor with over 15 years of industrial experience. So my question to you, will you help us reduce plastic by carbonizing PET to absorb pollutants? Thank you.
So there's no and. Reduce, carbonize, absorb. So moving over to the Q&A, who would like to jump in first? Just waiting for the videos. There we go. Harsh, over to you.
Okay, so you got me excited with the problem. I buy into the problem. You lost me with the solution. What I left with is they have a novel solution, but I don't understand this novel solution. So can you just go a little bit in detail about what makes it novel, and in particular, what aspects you think might be patentable?
So this solution is novel since current methods of PET recycling are mechanical recycling, so trying to turn PET bottles into new materials, often the same other or.
All right, living in the country. I don't have the greatest internet, but I think it might have been on the team side. Okay, we'll see if they kick back in a moment. Either that or they're just coming up with a really thoughtful answer. That's the other alternative. So, with the thought, we'll give them a minute. Hopefully there's a reconnection.
We've done so well so far on that.
Yeah, connection's been great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's logistically feasible, but we'll move on to the next team if we don't see them come live in a minute. And if we can, we'll come back for a Q&A if possible. But with that, we will jump in. So let's see some of the answers for the entrepreneurs that people really admire. Let's see some of the names that had come up. Some pretty impressive names we got. So we've got Norman Esch. I love it. Super important. Norman has to be on there today. Oprah Winfrey. That's fantastic. Whitney Wolf Hurd. So we got founder of Bumble. That's awesome. Alexander Wong. That's also a great one. Perfect. And Henry Ford, classic, awesome, perfect. Okay, so with that, we will go to the last team that we have to pitch. Again, we'll try and go back to Team 9 for Q&A if we can fix the connection issue. But with that, we'll go to Team 10, Hydro House.
Hi, my name is Peter, and I'm a co-founder at Hydro House. It is clear that Canada and the world are transitioning away from fossil fuels. Fortunately, most energy consumers need not worry about fossil fuel obsolescence. Government investment in renewable power generation will allow us all to continue our way of life by simply plugging in to a clean energy grid. But what about Canadians that have never been connected to the grid? Presently, more than 200,000 Canadians live in remote communities that rely solely upon diesel generators for their power. Remote Canadians pay exceptionally high electricity rates and currently spend $1.7 billion per year on diesel-powered electricity. This figure is set to grow as global oil supplies are depleted and carbon taxes rise. Hydro House's mission is to deliver a secure energy future to off-grid residents and capitalize on this market's green energy transition. Operating renewables in harsh northern climates brings unique challenges, and solar is currently the best solution. However, at high latitudes, long dark winters render solar inadequate. To make solar work for remote northern applications, an energy storage method is needed. HydroHouse is developing a novel solar and compressed hydrogen power plant. In the summer, surplus solar energy is converted into hydrogen using an electrolyzer and stored in high-pressure tanks. In the winter, hydrogen is converted back into electricity using a fuel cell. This is a reliable, closed-loop system with zero greenhouse gas emissions. Our systems are enclosed in a single, robust shipping container, which makes them simple to transport and modular. When interviewed, remote energy experts told us there's a serious push from within remote communities for alternatives to the diesel status quo. Experts also noted that there are no projects pursuing energy storage outside of batteries, despite serious potential for technologies which provide long-term energy storage for these communities. With the results from our detailed simulation model, we have secured our first paying customer, contingent on the performance of our prototype. Any prize money is being used to accelerate prototype construction. Market research showed that most renewable energy projects fail from lack of community expertise to upkeep the system. Because of this, HydroHouse will operate as a utility provider and charge for electricity usage and system maintenance rather than selling systems outright. Lucas and I are mechanical engineers with experience in the renewable energy industry, and we have an incredible network of advisors here at Waterloo. We have real customers who need a secure energy solution, and we are the team to tackle this problem now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team HydroHouse. So moving into the Q&A. Who would like to jump in first? Look around. It's you, Chris.
Can you tell us a bit more about the tests that you've done? Like what kind of working prototypes you have?
Yeah, so at this stage, we've currently constructed a fully functional simulation model. So it's clean tech, especially at this scale, is quite expensive to just prototype out of the gates without any sort of validation in silico. So that's where we're focusing right now. And we have a pilot site that's interested in an actual physical demonstration. And so we're working on developing a prototype for them.
Okay. And how big will that be?
The pilot site is 28 megawatt hours a year.
Okay.
So that's approximately 3 times the scale of a single northern resident, but it'll be located in southern Ontario. So it'll be easy to... Sorry?
What's the timing on that? When would you have that done?
We're looking to implement that demonstration site next year. In the interim, we're going to be piloting a small scale prototype this summer. That's where the ask is coming from for this $10,000 from Norman Esch. It's to pilot that small scale prototype so that we can validate the simulation model that we're applying to the pilot site.
Thanks.
So let me understand this from if I'm living in remote parts of Canada, I don't have electricity. I'm using generators right now for my my farm or my house and my whatever I do, my factory, whatever I have. I'm using generators that cost me X dollars. What do I have to pay to replace that? What's my short-term cost? What's my long-term cost? I mean, what is the value proposition? I'm not quite sure if I understood that. I understand your product. I like the idea, but I just want to understand the dollar point.
Luke, you're muted.
Yeah, so sorry guys. The key point here is that a lot of people in remote communities are actually living in public housing. So our main customer that we're selling to here is remote, the energy corporations that have contracts to provide electricity to remote communities. And the value that this is bringing is when we spoke with remote community stakeholders, they want to transition away from diesel energy. Currently, the prices of diesel are going up. We're seeing that everywhere. The difficulties in getting diesel to remote communities is increasing. So we're providing an opportunity for them to totally remove their dependence on the outside of their community to bring energy in. They can purchase a HydroHouse system, have it in their community, and be totally self-sufficient energy producers. So that's the value to the end customer.
That was a very good answer, missing in the presentation. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, over to Harsh.
What are the competitive advantages over Tesla's Powerwall?
Yeah, I can answer that one as well. So one of the main problems with batteries is they don't provide long-term energy storage. So if you think about your cell phone, if you charge it in the summer, by the time you get to the winter, that they self-deplete over time, and they also don't perform well in cold weather. So our system uses hydrogen for that long-term energy storage, which is especially needed the farther north you go because of the difference in solar availability summertime to wintertime.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Now over to you.
Just a quick question. So what are we talking about in terms of costs to build one of these?
The current cost incurred annually for the average northern resident is approximately $6,000 a year. As we mentioned, that's exceedingly high because of their high individual electricity rate, up to on average 6 times the national electricity rate is paid by community or off-grid community members. So the cost of a hydro house system we're based on our current simulation, we're predicting that it'll be $200,000. And the lifespan of a hydro house system is 20 years. So that's approximately $10,000 a year. So there's currently mismatch in there's a disparity between the cost of a hydro house system and the current cost of energy in these communities. But that is based on the current cost of hydrogen technology. Obviously, hydrogen as a industry is rapidly expanding, and it's predicted that with increasing manufacturing, the cost of the components will decrease dramatically over the next few years. And meanwhile, the cost of diesel fuel with increasing carbon taxes and stuff is predicted to increase. So there's going to be this crossing point where hydrogen technology solutions will offer a better cost.
Perfect.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
And
you.
hopefully you can see if you can do some waste heat recovery. So with that, perfect. Thanks a lot, Hydro House. So back by popular demand, we're going to see if we can get Reduce, Carbonize, and Absorb back in for Q&A. So we're going to see if we can have them pop in here. Team, you're back. Perfect. Okay. So who would like to jump in on the questions?
So I think they were answering a question.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, muted.
It'd be great to hear the answer.
Perfect. Just as they're coming off on mute. There you go.
Yes. So could you please repeat the question and then we will provide an answer. Thank you.
Harsh, I think it was from you, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was. So I really like the problem. I think it's a big problem to tackle. The solution wasn't clear. All I left it that it was a novel solution. So I get that you went from PET to activated carbon. Do other people do that? How do they do it? What makes yours different, and what aspects of it do you think would be patentable?
So I'll answer the first part and then Chris will follow up with the second part. So the first part is no one has actually used PET to make activated carbon. That's what's novel about our solution. Most other feed sources to make activated carbon is coal or biomass. And those are kind of competitor activated carbons on the market that we did comparison to in terms of performance. And so that's the real novelty. And our product is activated carbon. And the methylene blue dye is a proof of concept that we use to do a comparison with other activated carbons on the market.
Yeah, because this process is a relatively new process in the industry, there are opportunities to patent the reactor, which is the main part of the process. We will be investigating the design and the operations of the reactor in future IP studies.
Okay, thanks.
So just to add on to it, as to elaborate or to get better understanding, you convert plastic bottles into activated carbon. Activated carbon is then used for other benefits. So you have a two-step. You have eliminating waste or appropriately disposing of waste, and then you're using. So I think there's two elements here, but I'm getting a little confused in your pitch on it being. I didn't quite see that. Is that a better understanding of mine?
Yeah. So our main goal was the PET water bottle waste problem. So that's why we started off with that, since the main goal of our project is to reduce the impact of PET waste. So we are reducing 30% of the waste in Vancouver from being put in landfills or incinerated based on our process. And then we wanted to target a specific industry for our product just to show that there is a market for it and we can sell it. and it has value. So we targeted wastewater industry based on opportunities seen there.
And also to add on, as previously mentioned, our pitch, the textile industry is worth $993.6 billion US per year. The cost of our revenue for our company is 12 million US dollars per year. So there definitely is a market to sell our product to wastewater treatment, and there are other markets as well, as previously mentioned, where we could sell our product.
Your byproduct, not your product, your byproduct, right? I just sort of understanding the byproduct from the waste.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Now to Chris.
That kind of reminds me of cars being run by French fry grease, right? That you get paid to collect it from restaurants, and you get paid to sell it to people whose cars and other machinery run on it. So you're taking money on both sides. So if it works, it's a wonderful business model.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm so glad we got you back. Also because, you know, Dr. Fowler would get upset at me for using absorb instead of adsorb. So I apologize for calling your name incorrectly. But so with that, so that is all the STEM team. So perfect. So thanks everyone. So those really were spectacular. I really don't envy the judges in trying to figure out who's going to win here. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of everyone to say thank you to all the teams for all the work that they put in. And clearly it was a great show of engineering excellence. Really, really amazing work. So with that, we'll now take a few minutes to break. A few-minute break while the judges deliberate. And while that's happening, it's time for the People's Choice Award and a trivia game where people can win the iPad Pro. So in the comments, we'll post a link to the People's Choice voting and the code to a Kahoot game. If you'd like to participate, please go to kahoot.it. So that's KAHOOT.it. I believe the link will be in the chat. And enter the game code on the screen. Then you'll be prompted to enter your email and a nickname of your choice. And everyone, please keep the nickname classy, as this broadcast is rated E for everyone. The People's Choice will run for about 3 minutes, so do not waste your time. And then we'll start the Kahoot. I will see you after the break, but we also have a quick message from a special guest while you're voting.
Hey, it's Alexis Ohanian, and this is a hype video. You wanted to send a little message to all the fourth-year students working on your capstone projects. So you're going to be commercializing your idea, and this is some guidance or some support, maybe a little pep talk, I don't know, that'll help you feel good as you get ready for this Waterloo Engineering Esch Pitch competition. Big fan of Waterloo. There in Waterloo, Kitchener. It's been a while since I've been back there, obviously COVID and everything, but it's a special place, lots of talent. Y'all are clearly really skilled technical minds. That's how you got there. And I'm sure you're gonna do fine. I mean, really, at the end of the day, I actually think you should watch one of my I did a Small Empires episode profiling the startup community there, Vidyard, as well as the university, and for the work study program, and all the great firsthand experience that y'all get makes you so formidable, not just as startup founders, but also just working at startups. Big fan of graduates from Waterloo. So you're great. What can I say? No matter what, you're going to be fine. Well, that's not that helpful, I guess. You know, COVID accelerated tech adoption. We knew this was happening. It's been happening the last 15 years. Software has become a bigger and bigger part of every industry. COVID jumped it ahead. You know, what would have taken a few years of tech adoption happened in a few months during the pandemic and the shutdown. And now every industry realizes they got to have software. They got to have a lot of it. And if they can't build it, they got to buy it or pay for it. So that's where y'all come in. Build a great startup. Start there at university. Keep growing. Keep focusing on solving problems for people, ideally with big markets, and making something that they love. Building great product has never been more important, especially now as community has just become such a fundamental part of having success. And the only way you build a community is by building something really exceptional that your users love, and then nurturing that love and that fan base. So good luck. You're going to be fine. You're Waterloo engineers. You can handle it. So all the best, and thanks again.
Perfect. Okay, so with that, so we see people asking for the pin code. Again, please make sure you voted on the Adele Sedra link first. It's the first one to do. And with that, we will get the Kahoot pin code up as quickly as possible. But again, please, the bit.ly link, so bit.ly/Sedra Vote 2022. Please make sure you go do that first. $3,000 at stake. There's the link, so please go click on that first. And then there you go. There is the pin for Kahoot. So 7370376. But again, Sedra Vote before it closes, about to close, be quick, and then go join Kahoot, and we will come back as soon as we have the winners ready to go. All right. We are about to kick it off here. We've got 165 people. Okay. All right, so I think we're ready to start on the Kahoot. I'm not sure if someone needs to go. There we go. Enjoy, everyone. Okay. Who said that? Who said my life is my job and my job is my life? Anna Winter, Martha Stewart, Walt Disney, or Steve Jobs? Martha Stewart. All right. Only 23 people. Oh, this is going to be exciting. There's an iPad Pro on the line here. So moving on to the next one. And sorry, yes, the speed at which you respond, you get more points if you respond quickly. So plenty more questions to come, though. I would like to die on Mars, just not on impact. Dr. Ho, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, or Elon Musk? All right, 2, 1. That one, no doubt. That's Elon Musk. Most people got that. Oh, Colin, he's still in the lead. Nicely done, Colin. Nice John Pope Jr. Those who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that do. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, or Tyler Perry? Definitely Steve Jobs there. Okay. Well, almost half the people got it right. Colin, see, that is not me, just for clarity. I am not that Matt. I do not believe I'm eligible here. If you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat, just get on. This one I definitely know. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, Oprah, Sheryl Sandberg, or Sarah Blakely. I have not tried Spanx for Men yet, but I will. And that one is Sheryl Sandberg. Perfect. Yeah. Most popular answer. Colin, you still there? Oh, you are, but the other Matt got bumped. Nice work, Jason H. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Michelle Romano, Mr. Wonderful, Jeff Bezos, or Draymond John. See if Colin's still at the top. Okay. Colin. Oh. Nice. But why is nipping at Colin's heels? Think you're too small to have an impact? Try going to bed with a mosquito. Good. Richard Branson, Anita Roddick, Vera Wang, and Warren Buffett. Okay. Anita Roddick on that one. Okay, anyway, you guys don't need me reading the questions. I got to go check something in the chat here. I think I see how the progress of the voting is going. I'll be back in a minute. Nicely done, Colin. Our winner, start to finish. That was impressive. That was sad. I was wondering if Pope Jr. was going to come and take the first spot. So with that, congrats. So Colin, so the team will reach out. Congratulations. You won an iPad Pro. And with that, the results are in. So the judges have deliberated. The votes are in. And before I announce the winners, I want to take a moment to thank the faculty and staff from the Conrad Center who spent months working with over the 50 applicant teams to improve their product and pitches and help them narrow it down to the 10 awesome teams that made it to today. So with that, thank you to Esteban Ventimilla, David Rose, Doug Sparks, Wayne Chang, Naomi Sumi, Allison Perdon, Taylor Roth, Aislinn Shoveler. And thank you all for your time, your wisdom, and your guidance. So now it's money time. So without further ado, let's do a round of applause. We're going to take one at a time. So the first winner of $10,000 is Hydro House. Oh, my puppy. So congratulations, Hydro House. Just got $10,000. So normally we'd bring you up on the stage and we'd all celebrate, but we will go through these one at a time. So that's congratulations, Hydro House. Moving on to number 2. Round of applause. Cortisol. Congratulations, Cortisol. You just won $10,000. The third one of the 6 prizes. Round of drum roll. We've got Safe Sound Surgery. Congratulations, Safe Sound Surgery. You just won $10,000. Feel a little bit like Oprah. Next one, drum roll of who's going to win. Petalos. Congratulations. You just won $10,000. Next one to win $10,000. Drum roll is Moonlight Haptics. Nicely done, Moonlight Haptics. Now that is 5. There is one more. Again, if you won today, congratulations. You should be really proud. You just got an injection of funds. If you didn't win today, trust me, entrepreneurship is about a lot of ups and downs, and this will not be the defining moment. So if you didn't win today, again, congratulations. You really did win by working on your project the way you did, and also by even making it to today, because only 1 in 5 even made it to today. So the last winner of the $10,000 prize is Origami. Congratulations, Origami. You just won $10,000. So there is one more. There's the bonus $3,000, the Adele Sedra People's Choice winner. And the Sedra People's Choice Winner Award goes to Petalos. Congratulations, Petalos. So with that, we just gave away $63,000. If your name was called, please pretend like you came on stage, you just got the really big check. Hopefully you can just Photoshop that and send it to your parents. Congratulations, that is absolutely fantastic. And so with that, this has been a truly wonderful afternoon, and I wish all the teams that presented this afternoon the very best in the next steps of your planned projects. Again, entrepreneurship can be a phenomenal force for good and can solve very significant world problems, and I really hope that you guys continue with this, even if it's not immediate. The seed has been planted and the seed will grow. So and again, I really do want to have a huge thank you to the Esch Foundation. Really, again, the Norman Esch Pitch competition would not be possible without their support, and thank you to all the trustees. So just a reminder, if you are interested in entering your capstone project for next year's Norman Esch Pitch competition, please check out the engineering website under entrepreneurship. Thank you, friends, family, and supporters for watching, and I hope you all continue to stay safe. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye.